Alright, we're talking about high rollers horse racing. This is a high strategy, I wouldn't even say it's difficult, it just takes a lot to get down. It's a racing game where you are not only just an owner of a horse, but you're also betting on all the horses in the game. But what I'm going to do is show you how to play first, and we'll talk about the game. This is high roller horse racing. This game is pretty awesome, I'll be honest. It is a little heavier, but I'm going to go through everything, hopefully as well as possible. What we have here is the board itself. You have the starting point, the midway, and the finish line. The board is set up where you have all the bets for the horses and all the purchases for the horses, and any disqualified horses, wins, place, and show horses. I'll explain all this right now. In this game, you are an owner of a racetrack, and you are hosting horse racing. So you're going to start by owning your horses. So everyone's going to have a chance to bet on the horses in the game. Start off by distributing $4,000 to each player. 6 $500 bills and 10 $100 bills. Go ahead and seed the bettor's purse, or fill the bettor's purse, by putting $200 in there. One person will act as the auctioneer and shuffle the title cards of all the horses, which correlate with the horses you see over there, and begin auctioning off the horses. So the first horse we'd have, for example, is Citation. Citation is a stalwart. That means that they're not necessarily the favorited horse, but they're also not necessarily the long shots. It'll show you how much their minimum bid is. This one's $700, and the fair price that they're relatively worth. Each horse will have a reroll option or amount of patience that they could put aside to use in a later run if they wanted to. Every horse will have a ride and a drive. The speed will change based off, have they reached the midway yet, or have they gotten tired? And this will give you any benefits to the roll, right? So this specific horse, Citation, the stalwart, when rolling a white dice, gets no bonus, but will move like everyone else. But when using the green dice, the drive, will get 1 added to that. Now here's the issue with the drive, which does help you get a nice boost, but if you ever roll a 1, your horse is going to be disqualified. And you'll have to pay the disqualification amount. I'll get to that in a second. So when you put a horse out, everyone will start bidding, and this is going to be like an open outcry. So everyone will just be like, oh, I want, sorry, 700, 900 here, well, 1200 here. So bam, let's say this guy yelling as loud as he can, 1 Citation for 1200, which, like we saw earlier, is not a bad bid. You'll take that 1200 and put it in the owner's purse. You will continue doing this with the next horse and keep going through all the horses until everyone's bought their horse. It would look a little something like this. He has 2 horses, he has 3 horses, he has 2 horses, he has 1 horse. You would write down the names of each player and what the horse they own up here using a Sharpie. Like a nice old expo here. I'm not going to do it for this example because it's just an example. Anyways, now you get an option to bet on the horses. The person with the owner of the last place position, I believe it's this one here, which is Zenyatta, gets to bet first. So Zenyatta, the owner of Zenyatta, looks at all the horses and gets to place a bet on any of them. Each horse is only allowed 2 bets, okay? So he's like, all right, well, I do think, since he is a favorite, Man of War may win the round, right? He's going to win because I say so. He has a nice drive and a good ride. Doesn't get tired at the midway point, and he's a favorite. Doesn't have much patience, but that's fine. He doesn't need it. And he also doesn't have any re-rolls, but I trust him. The minimum is 400, and you have to place a bet if you have the money. So here's 400, putting that in the bettor's purse. Zenyatta has a bet on Man of War, so he puts his name here. And that continues, right? So the person in this position who owns American Pharaoh gets to choose a horse they want to bet on next, right? And they're like, oh, I'm gonna put whatever here. 400. And this, it's 400. And they're all betting on horses and putting their name down. And remember, each horse is only allowed 2 bets, so do not surpass that. Circulate till you reach the very front again, right? So like the last person who's going to be placing any bets would be Citation's owner here. Oops, wait, no. Where's Citation? Oh, Citation's owner's here. So if he has the money left over, which he does, he'd be like, all right, I'm going to put one last bet, and he places his last bet on whatever horse is still available. And then, this is where the fun starts. Because it's been fun already. So, player in first is Citation. So Citation's owner has one reroll option if they'd like. So if they don't like the roll, they can always re-roll again. So he's gonna start, and you know, no reason to get risky yet. He doesn't want to really like risk disqualifying his horse, so he's gonna use a white, and he gets a 3. There is no bonus for 3, and it's not a bad roll, so he's not gonna re-roll. So he goes 1, 2, 3, and of course you could choose your starting position, right? But he's just gonna stick to the end right now. A move forward would be 1, a move diagonal would be 2, sideways would be 1. So he's going 1, 2, 3, just like that. Now the owner of Seattle Slew, which is this guy, is going to go, and he's a little more ballsy, right? So, you know, Seattle Slew also has a reroll dice, so he could use that if he'd like, and he's going to go all in, right? So it's a 4 on a drive plus the 2 for being before the midway. That's a 6 die roll right there. That's awesome. So he goes in, he goes 1, 2, 3, does a lap around, Citation, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's totally in the lead there. Not bad at all. And the next guy goes, and this is going to be Man of War. Man of War is like, all right, no problem. I'm also going to go big and heavy here with a 3 and a drive of 2. It puts him at 5. He has no reroll, so he just really took the leap of faith with that one. Puts him at 5. Blah, just like that. And this will keep going till all the horses have, you know, started scattering across the field, right? And you know, they're getting ready for the turns over here. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. This is the outcome so far, and what we have here is Spectacular Bids getting ready to hit this turn right here. So are they. Whatever lane they decide to start the turn, they have to stay in that turn. For example, Zenyatta took this row when he started turning. He can't jump out of it. He has to stay in this till he leaves the turn. They all still have the option to like, all right, I'll use 2 to go this way or 2 to go this way, whatever. It looks like Native Dancer over here has reached the midway. So anytime, and since he's in first, let's go ahead and start with him. Or her, I don't know. He gets 2 rerolls. He hasn't used any yet. And once he passes, this is a long shot, so it's not a very good horse, as you can see. It's already pretty slow using the regular die. But once it hits midway, it gets a little faster. He's going to take that risk, roll the drive, gets that +1. But you know what? He's like, no, hold on. Re-roll. I can go higher. No, he doesn't. He still hits a 3. So that's a 4. So he goes 1, 2, and he's like 3, 4 because he wants to get a little diagonal in there, right? And the next horse goes, and if they're both in the same lane, the one closest to the end goes first. So Man of War goes. Man of War hits that. Ooh, 1, 2. Plus the additional 2, and now he's past the midway, so he will no longer get a 2 bonus speed, he'd get a 1 bonus speed. Okay, Citation goes and he rolls this, and let's say, oh my goodness, Citation hit a 1. Yes, he has a reroll, as you see here, but you can't use the reroll on a 1 because your horse is disqualified. Now he has to pay a $600 fine because of his disqualified horse. How could he do that to his horse? When somebody passes the finish line, as you see here, triggers the winning round. So everyone still has a chance to really catch up. Like Zenyatta over here, right? And he's been saving his patience. He's got 3 patience ready for the end. And he has 1 reroll in case he doesn't like what happens. Gets a 6. He throws on the 3 patience tokens he saved. That's a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, because he wants to put rounds around Native Dancer, and he comes first place. Now let's say everybody else got their chance. He is in first place because he is the farthest ahead, and that is how the game plays. Then you go into scoring. Now this board kind of breaks it down to you how the money is delivered to players. Each payout is based off favorite, stalwarts, and long shots. So Zenyatta is a stalwart, as you see here. So since there were 4 players, he won. $18 goes to the stalwart, but you got to add 100, times it by 100. So 18 times 100, what is that? Oh my God, I don't know math. I think it's like 1,800. So he gets 1,800 like that. Then the second place, which would be Native Dancer, who is a long shot, doesn't actually get a payout because it has to win or doesn't score. As you see, like favorites, even shows will win. Now for the owners, they also get payouts. So so since Zenyatta is the winner, you'd look for the owners, right? So how much money was inside of the owner's purse? You would look for the amount. All right, let's just say for sake of the video, there's 108 times 100, right? So 108 in the owner's purse. So everyone get paid out for that. So the winner, the place, and the show would all get their money. Then you see who has the most money, and that is the winner. You can play this as many times as you want. It's actually pretty easy once you get it down. Really fun to play, especially when you are choosing like to risk it all or not, and so forth. Right. So, as you can see, it is a very nicely produced racing game. I've reviewed plenty of racing games in the past, and you may know it's one of my favorite genres. I like the betting components, and I love the idea of owning some of the horses. I did a game back, a year ago at this point, where you are not only the creatures racing in the game, but also betting on these creatures. So not only do you want your specific character to survive the race, you might want other characters to survive because they're the ones you put money on. Very similar in this situation because there's disqualifications as well as a lot of money on the line. I think the detail in this game really makes this game extremely unique. A lot of it has to do with horse racing. So if you aren't familiar with it, yeah, it will take a couple rounds for you to be like, okay, I get it now. But once you get it, you can go out to the actual horse races and put some real money down because you're going to be a top league bettor. Not really, don't believe me, don't even do that unless, I'm not reliable for that because I'm just kidding. I like that there's favorite horses. I like how each horse has its own biography, like background and all that. You have the long shots, you have the stalwarts. You're using horse racing terms and you're starting to get familiar with those specific terms. You're knowledgeable on the product. The game plays very well. You have dice, but you have options. You have risky dice and regular dice. I think that's really neat. It kind of adds more to the game than just like rolling and moving, right? You can potentially lose your horse, but you could go in first place. As you saw in the demonstration, we had Zenyatta come first place because he made that risk. He chose a very nice strategy of saving his patience and using his rerolls in a way to get in first place and win the big bucks. So as you can see, this game does have a lot of strategy involved, your placements and the horses that you bet on, and a long shot may actually win and you will win a lot of money. Not always, but they're cheaper, so you probably saved a lot of money buying that horse in the first place, right? Some of these horses go for like 100 minimum, while some of the favorites go for like 1,200 minimum. So it's really down to like, what are you willing to put in and how hard are you willing to work? Is this a game for you? Well, I don't know if this is just the product I specifically own or not, but the board, as you saw, is pretty big and it's hard cardboard, so it's not very easy to put away in my shelf of games. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. I do wish it was a little more portable. You can't just walk around with this giant board, put it on the hood of your car, wrap it up and take it to your friend's house for game night, but you could have friends over to play it. It is very fun. Like I said, I think the detail in this game really makes this game. The betting and how the payouts work, it's all very well structured. The developer knows his stuff, and I think you can applaud him for that, if anything. Is this a game for you? Well, it hits all the right points as far as racing goes. You have the actual racing itself, the betting itself, and each horse itself has a lot of personality to it. So that in its own is already really nice, on top of the fact that it is really well structured. And for a 90-minute game, I wouldn't even say 60-minute game. You know, a lot of it has to do with setup and like betting and all that. I play this game multiple times when I do bring it out, and I have brought this out multiple times. This is, you know, versus review night or game night. This has hit game night because people want to do this, and we can even put some real money down and be like, all right, let's see how the horses go. And that's what's fun, because when you get your horse disqualified, there goes your 20 bucks on the table, and it adds a lot more like risk, and that risk is excitement, and it's a good time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Is this a game that you should own? I don't see why not. If you like racing, even if you don't like racing, I think this is a good starting racing game, because once you read through it enough and kind of like get the gist of what's going on, definitely have to play it a few times first, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. This is gonna be the racing game to show people. Anybody can enjoy it as long as you know the rules, right? People like to bet, I'm sure. Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment below, and I'll see you in the next review.